Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now this is the first part of a 3-video set where I'm going to show my favourite 100 singles that I have in my collection. Now this was actually requested by Simon, Return to Vinyl, who said could I do a top 30, and rather than do a top 30 I thought I would do a top 100. Now there are two rules. The first rule is I must own the single. So say for example Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone, I don't own it. It would have been in there but I don't have it, so it's not included. And the second rule, and the most difficult one, is I'm only allowing myself one song per artist. Otherwise there would be about 3 different artists that completely take control of the full top 100. So we're going to do from number 100 to 66 today, and probably next week we'll 65 to 31, and then the last video will be the top 30. Now not all of these are in picture sleeve, and there are some odd choices, some curveballs, but they're all singles that I love. So we'll start off with number 100, and it's UB40. And it's The Earth Dies Screaming, which is a double A side with Dream Alive. It came out in 1980. I think it's their 2 best A sides, never mind just The Earth Dies Screaming. I think Dream Alive is every bit as good. And it was not on any of the albums, so it was a standalone single. And really it was the first single that made me think, God, these are really, really good band. So that's my number 100, The Earth Dies Screaming with Dream Alive. Now the first curveball is Marty Webb, Take That Look Off Your Face, also from 1980. I've always loved this song. It's from Tell Me on a Sunday. I think it's the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical and Don Black. Yeah, it's just a really, really good song. A very well constructed song, beautifully sung by Marty Webb. Always loved it. It was a big hit in the UK. At number 98, and I don't have a sleeve for this one, and it's Visage and The Damned Don't Cry from 1982. Now I do love their single Fade to Grey as well, but I've always had a preference for this one, and this is on their album The Anvil. It is very dark, it is very moody, it is quite gothic, but it's absolutely beautiful, and it used to be played a lot in the nightclubs at the time whenever I was first starting to go to nightclubs when I was about 16. Yes, I know you had to be 18, but I still went at 16. Yeah, really, really great track. Just wish I had a picture sleeve for it. So that's number 98, The Damned Don't Cry. At number 97, we have Joan Armatrading and Rosie, and I think this is from around 1980 as well. Yeah, this is also a non-album single, and it's a little bit like Lola. It's about fella dressing up as a girl, etc. And it's really, really good track. A little bit of sort of a reggae vibe to it. Very, very catchy. Absolutely love it. And that's my number 97. Now number 96 is Lick the Tins and their version of Can't Help Falling in Love, the big hit by Elvis Presley. Now this is a completely different take on it, with a lot of Irish jigs and reels in it, and your girl's voice, who I'm not too sure who it is. I do know her name, but it just escapes me at the moment. A very, very hoarse voice, beautiful though, and this featured in the film Some Kind of Wonderful. Slightly different version in the film, but yeah, really good track. And it was years before I was able to buy this, so about 3 years, because I always heard it on the radio and never bought it for some reason. And I finally got it in a shop in Jersey, in St Helier, Jersey, and at that time I was working on holiday. I didn't have a record player and I couldn't wait to get home to play it, so Lick the Tins and Can't Help Falling in Love, 96. And at number 95 we have Stiff Little Fingers and Bits of Kids. Now Suspect Device and Nobody's Heroes are my favourite Stiff Little Fingers singles, but I don't have them. This here I think is great, from 1982. It's from their Now Then album, which is a really, really good album. And this has got a rousing chorus, you know, it's slow verses, but really catchy rousing chorus and really good guitars. So that's my number 95, Bits of Kids by SLF. And at number 94 we have the Skids and Circus Games from the Absolute Game album, I think 1980. Yeah, really good track, and I even do like the children's voices in it as well. Very catchy, very punky, very new wave, really excellent track. Yeah, so that gets my number 94. Obviously that was the band that Stuart Adamson was in before Big Country. At number 93, and unfortunately no picture sleeve, and this is Geordie and All Because of You from 1973. And this is the band that Brian Johnson was in before AC/DC. This is catchy, it's very glammy. You know it's a Brian Johnson's voice, you know, like a sort of ear-piercing voice, but yeah, really good track. And always loved it then, love it now, and it's my number 93. At number 92, I'm with Ringo Starr and Photograph, and this is absolutely fantastic track. I'm not a huge fan of Ringo Starr's voice. I'm not a huge fan of any of his albums, but this is really good. Written by George Harrison and Ringo. It's probably mostly George Harrison. It's on his Ringo album, and I know he plays it all the time whenever he plays live, but this is as good as anything the Beatles did. Really good track, and if this was a Beatles song it would be regarded as an absolute stonewall classic. It's a Ringo Soul track, and Photograph top 10 in the UK, a number 1 hit in America. At number 91, and this didn't chart, and this is Pluto Shirvington, and it's on the Trojan label. It is catchy reggae, and the track is called Ram Goat Liver. Now there's another one, he had one hit actually in the UK with Dat, which is great as well, but I don't have it. And then he had a hit in the early 80s with an old track from around this time, the mid 70s, with Your Honour, which is the first one I bought, and I absolutely loved it. I remember seeing it on Top of the Pops, really catchy. And this came in a pack of reggae singles that I bought, and I think it is absolutely brilliant. I love the guitar in it, it's so catchy. So Ram Goat Liver by Pluto Shirvington is my number 91. And at number 90, the debut single by Spandau Ballet, and it's to cut a long story short, absolutely brilliant. Before they turned into this sort of loungy music, they were actually quite new romantic, and your guy Tony Hadley, dressed in all his sort of kilts and all that sort of stuff and tartans, really good. And this was the end of 1980 and a top 10 hit. That's my number 90. At number 89, and we have, again, I'm sorry no picture sleeve, but Fox and Only You Can from 1975. Bought this when it came out. Love Nisha Fox's voice, absolutely gorgeous voice, completely different to any other female voice. But yeah, this is catchy as hell, and the single version is much better than the album version. So the album version starts off as a normal song, and then it goes into this sort of weird sound. It's a bit of a dancey groove for the mid 70s, but it's weird and it's really good. So Fox, Only You Can, number 89. Now this is a real curveball, and this is the Fureys and Davy Arthur, and it is I Will Love You Every Time. And the reason I love this, I do like Finbar Fury's voice. This is the sort of Irish folky sort of type music, but it's the slow banjo picking in this that just makes this song so good. They had a decent hit with When You Were Sweet 16 in 1982. This may have been the one before or the follow-up, I do not know, it's from around that time anyway. But it's an absolutely gorgeous song, and it gets my number 88. And at number 87 we have Agnetha Fältskog and Wrap Your Arms Around Me, co-written actually by Mike Chapman. This is the title track from her debut English singing album, and it's wonderful. It's an absolutely beautiful song. Released in 1983, it didn't do too well. I think it got number 50 something in the charts, but it is the best, probably the best single by either Agnetha or Frida post ABBA. I absolutely love it, and so it gets my number 87. At number 86, and it's the Pretenders and Talk of the Town, and I think this is their best single, and this was on Pretenders 2. It actually came out quite a bit before Pretenders 2 came out, and it was a slightly different version to the LP version. This is slightly longer, and I don't understand why the LP version isn't the same length. But yeah, really, really great Chrissie Hynde song. I could have picked Back in the Chain Gang, but I think Talk of the Town is my favourite, so that's my number 86. And at 85 from 1980, and it's Madness and Baggy Trousers, and to me this is their best single. Brilliant video, really, really catchy, absolutely love this track. I didn't love it as much then, I liked it, but I really, really love it now. It seems to get better and better as the years go by. So Baggy Trousers by Madness is my number 85. And at 84, and this is from 1983, you may call it a guilty pleasure, I don't know, but it's Irene Cara and Flashdance, which I think is fantastic, and I actually really do like that full soundtrack. Okay, there's bits and pieces that aren't as good, but there's some really good songs off it, and this is one of them. And I love the video for this as well. I think it's Jennifer Beal in it, the video, which is gorgeous. But Flashdance, really, really good, and I always thought this was better than Fame. And at number 83, you'll definitely call this a guilty pleasure, but I think this is a really, really good pop song. That's Dollar and Who Were You With in the Moonlight from 1979. As you can see, Teresa Bizarre before she got her bleach blonde look, but really, really good catchy song from their debut album, which is an absolutely excellent album. Really good, strong pop music. I know people laugh when you talk about Dollar, but they were very good indeed. And so Who Were You With in the Moonlight is my number 83. Now at number 82, and no picture sleeve of this one, and we're going way back to about 1971 or 72, and it's Olivia Newton-John, and it's Banks of the Ohio, or the Ohio. This is just part of my youth, really do love it. And whenever trying to learn to play guitar when I was 16, this was the first one I had to go at, and I was able to play it up slightly, then I gave up. But still, really, really catchy song. I like the way it progresses, with more instrumentation and more backing vocals coming in as the song goes on. It's from her debut album, absolutely classic track. And at number 81, and we have a glam classic, and it's Mud, and it's Dynamite from 1973. It's their most glammy of all their hits. Other ones are more like rock and roll revivalist type stuff, but it is rumoured that this one was actually given to The Sweet. I don't know if that's actually true. I hear a lot of people saying no, it's not the case, and some people saying it is the case, but whatever, it's an absolute really riff-tastic song with a very catchy chorus and a top 10 hit for Mud. That's Dynamite. And at number 80, and this is, you may think this is a weird one, but this is Van Morrison and Real Real Gone from his Enlightenment album. I think it was 1990 or 91. And this is full of horns, but this is catchy as hell. It's one of my all-time favourite Van Morrison songs. If I ever do a Van Morrison playlist, this is always the opener. I just think it's so damned uplifting. It's really, really good. I guess my number 80. At number 79, another sort of glam or nearly post-glam classic, and it's Alvin Stardust, My Cuckoo, and this came out at the end of 1973 and got to number 2 at the start of 74. Brilliant track, always loved it. I've always loved those early Alvin Stardust singles. You know, Alvin Stardust was Shane Fenton, who was Bernard Jury. But this one here, although it's his first single, he doesn't actually sing on it. It's Pete Shelley, the writer, that's singing, because the song was recorded under the name Alvin Stardust, but it wasn't expected to be a hit. But whenever it did become a hit, he had to get somebody to mime it, and it was Bernard Jury. And then all the singles after that was Bernard Jury singing as in Alvin Stardust. So this is actually Pete Shelley singing. So that's my number 79. At number 78, and this is one of the first 3 singles I ever bought. I can never remember in which order. and this is Melanie, Brand New Key, which I absolutely adore. And I remember it used to have a wee spindle there, so I think this might be an American copy, even though it was bought in a local record shop whenever I was a kid, really. But yeah, absolutely love it. And then of course the Wurzels recopied it and put new words to it and made Combine Harvester a #1 hit. But the original version, Brand New Key, absolutely love it. That's my number 78. And number 77, and from 1984, and it's Murray Head and One Night in Bangkok, written by Bjorn Ulvaeus, Benny Andersson and Tim Rice. Really good track. It sounds very ABBA in the chorus. It's got that sort of ABBA beat to it, and it's from the Chess soundtrack, and I absolutely loved it. Always preferred this to the big #1 hit, I Know Him So Well, with Barbara Dixon and Elaine Paige. But yeah, Murray Head, absolutely bouncing track, really good, and that's my number 77. And number 76, and we have The Clash and their best single, Tommy Gun, which races at you. The drums are like a Tommy gun. Best track off the Give 'Em Enough Rope album. Absolutely brilliant, and as I say, it's my favourite Clash single, and it's the song that really got me into the Clash, because they played this in one of those shows. I don't think it was the Old Grey Whistle Test, I think it was something else or something like that, and I videotaped it and I played it over and over again. And Tommy Gun, brilliant, and it's my number 76. And at number 75 is Phil Lynott and Yellow Pearl from, it's the Top of the Pops theme from the early 80s. Really great track, and as a full song it works even better than the Top of the Pops theme, which I think it works really well in itself. But absolutely love it. It's nothing like Thin Lizzy at all. It's full of electronics. I think this was co-written or fully written by Midge Ure, I believe. I'm not going to check it, but I believe he had something to do with it anyway. But yeah, Yellow Pearl, Phil Lynott, my number 75. At number 74, and we have another Andrew Lloyd Webber one, as Yvonne Elliman and I Don't Know How to Love Him, which I think is one of the finest songs ever written. I've heard Sarah Brightman sing this and she does it even better. But this was bought by my mother years and years ago in the very early 70s, and I absolutely adore it. It's actually an EP, and Murray Head is actually on this with Superstar, but the main track is Yvonne Elliman's I Don't Know How to Love Him. Brilliant song, and it's my number 74. And at number 73 we have the Stranglers and Get a Grip on Yourself, or Grip, with the B-side London Lady, both tracks on the Rattlesnake Norvegigus debut album by the Stranglers. Really great track with those swirling keyboards by Dave Greenfield, that thumping bass by JJ, brilliant vocals by Hugh Cornwell, absolutely fantastic, and it's my favourite Strangler single, so it gets my number 73. And number 72, and a track that actually got to #1 by 3 different artists, and I'm going to go for the middle artist, and it's Dr. and the Medics, Spirit in the Sky. Came out in 1986, and I was obsessed with this song. I absolutely loved it. Obsessed by the video as well. Those two freaky girls climbing on up to the Spirit in the Sky. They actually turned up as well on the cult video for Rain. But yeah, really catchy. Obviously #1 by Norman Greenbaum around 1970, and it got to #1 again with I think it was Garth Gates and the Kumars, which I actually quite liked because it was quite funny. But yeah, this version here is the best, and it's my number 72. And number 71, and we have the Free Electric Band by Albert Hammond. Brilliant track, his only hit. Huge fan of Albert Hammond, and this got top 20, and although he didn't have any more hits, he wrote so many hits for other people. You know, he had about 3 different #1s in the 1980s with The Starship and Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time, and then the one with Aswad, Don't Turn Around, and he did Diana Ross, When You Tell Me That You Love Me, and loads others. Really great track from the Free Electric Band album from 73. And number 70, and we have XTC and Senses Working Overtime from 1982. Absolutely brilliant track. It is their best single. They've had a hell of a lot of great singles, but to me this is the one that is their best, and I think it's probably their biggest hit. I think it's the only one that actually got top 10, if it got top 10 at all, from the English Settlement album. Really good and catchy as hell with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brilliant, and it gets my number 70. And number 69 from 1981, and it's Toyah and Thunder in the Mountains. And this here was a single that was not on any album. It's between the Anthem album and the Changeling album, and this is a really good video as well, with her makeshift chariot. You know, the size of her, she's the size of a dolphin, and she's riding this makeshift chariot. Really, really good, catchy. First time I heard this, I thought, you know, it was poor, but it's one of those songs that grew and grew and grew at the time, and while this was in the charts and going down the charts, I thought it was the best thing ever. So Thunder in the Mountains by Toyah is my number 69. And number 68, we have The Sweet and Hellraiser, and this was the follow-up to Blockbuster. It's got to number 2 in 73, and it wasn't on any album. In fact, most of the Sweet singles weren't on any albums. But yeah, this is really, really melodic, but it's really heavy as well. It's got a really good crunching guitar riff. It's a Channing Chapman song. Deserved to be number 1. Absolutely love it. Best Sweet single, Hellraiser, and that is number 68. And at number 67, and I think this is from 1977 or 78, but it is Peter Gabriel and Solsbury Hill from his debut album, and it's fantastic. He's had 2 really good singles. I was nearly going to choose Games Without Frontiers, but I like both of them the same, and because this one's got a picture sleeve, I thought I would show it. But it's a very, very good album. There's the actual album cover there. Very, very good album, and this is probably the highlight, although the Burgermeister one I really do like as well. So Solsbury Hill is my number 67. And finally for today, my number 66 is my favourite female singer, and it's Tanita Tikaram and Twist in My Sobriety, and this is from her debut album Ancient Heart. Second single, got to number 20 something, and yeah, really good, very, very moody, beautiful, beautiful track. And whenever this one was out, I absolutely loved it, and still do. Love Tanita. I must do another video on her. So number 66, Tanita Tikaram, Twist in My Sobriety. Okay, so that's the first part of going down my top 100 singles. I hope you enjoyed that. Second part will probably be next week. So until then, all the best now. Bye bye.